Decorating Pages is a podcast dedicated to taking you behind the scenes of the designs of your favorite TV shows and films. Each episode, I'll be sharing design stories from some of Hollywood's most famous sets. Interviews from set decorators, production designers, directors, and actors about creating the look of TV and film, about their design inspirations, and stories that take sets from page to screen. Hello, and welcome to Decorating Pages. I'm your host, Kim Wanup. All right, Hollywood, let's go. Let's get back to work. Let's make some movies and some awesome TV shows and crank up those commercials, whatever we got to do. Let's all get back to work. Let's hope these actors' negotiations go well. I'm recording this Monday night, so today was day one of the SAG-AFTRA negotiations with all the big wigs in the room. Hopefully it went well. I have read articles that it's not going to be as fast as a negotiation as the WG was in the past weeks. But, they only met once so far, so yeah, I get that. There are some shows that are starting up writers' rooms. Cool. Let's do it. That I've heard. And also, I think there are some shows who have long prep times for art departments or prep times for department heads that might start up because they are assuming these talks will go well. And, if you have 8 weeks prep, 6 weeks prep on something, they might start you up now. If you're on a show that has 3 weeks prep, 2 weeks prep, I don't know. It's you're going to have to probably wait till they sign something. So, yes, but it seems like we're going to get back to work. And I think it's going to be really hard to go back to work, to be honest, at this point, personally, because I've been off for a long time. I have been off. I mean, I took a little commercial and then I started up the show I'm on, but I've kind of been off since February. And, I've never been off this long. COVID was 5 months. February, that's a lot more than 5 months, right? So I have immensely enjoyed this time off, I must say. I've jam-packed every day. And I've really gotten, I think, decently good at the podcast. What do you think? I think I'm all right. I think it's gotten better, people. I must say, less and less effort is put into my prep for each episode. I used to have to write every single thing down. Then I was like, okay, I don't have to write it. I got bullet points, okay. Now basically the only thing I'm writing down is the intro for the guest, which you can see never isn't it very well either because I'm not a good writer. I'm not a writer. I'm a creative, which leads me into, you'll see what Wanup's watching, not that much, because I am still so deep into watching previously nominated Academy Award films. And I am so excited for people to listen and to watch the videos and to form their own opinions and to get feedback. I did 1 or 2 this week with guests and talking about 4 or 5 films for one year, 10 films for another. So I've been deep diving, and weirdly enough, I had wanted to read that book, Oscar Wars, and I thought, well, it's a good time to start it up because I'll probably be driving more soon. And I've been driving back and forth a little bit for other things lately. And they are talking about, the films that I have just recently watched, all about Eve and Sunset Boulevard. And it's crazy that I'm so in the headspace of these films. And then hearing this, behind the scenes things about the Academy Awards and how they all went down. It's fascinating. I think I'm only on chapter 3 of this book. I think it's fantastic. If you are a movie lover, and love the history of film and how the Academy was made and Mayor and it's the DGA. It talks about all the founding of that and the founding of SAG, and so it's very topical, I would say, right now. At least the first couple episodes, or chapters of the book. Do I have the author of that book? Hold on. Yes, Oscar Wars by Michael Schumann. I have it right up because I just paused it to do this intro. It was just fascinating. Just can't stop listening to it. So I highly recommend that for everybody getting back to work. Get your audiobooks. Get on that one. It's pretty good. What else is one of watching? Has anyone seen the documentary on HBO, Telemarketers? Because at first I was like, oh, that's dumb. And then I started watching it. I fell for this. There is this huge scam starting in New Jersey, and I know a lot of other people did. They would sell you stickers to put on your car, and the theory was if a cop saw the sticker, you wouldn't get a ticket. That was the theory. And so everyone bought these tickets, and this is the telemarketers who like scammed millions and millions of dollars out of this like police thing. But then like maybe the police were involved, like I don't know. It was good. It's short. It's like 3 episodes. And it spans over like 10-15 years or something. It was good. I got into Reservation Dogs because I will be speaking with the production designer of Reservation Dogs, Brandon Toner Connolly, next week's episode. I hope, because he had some technical difficulties last week with the floods in New York. It was crazy. This is one of those shows, oh, that looks good. I should probably get into it. And then you don't. And then I was glad to have been kind of, pushed into, okay, I have to watch it because I'm going to talk to him. And I watched a bunch of the episodes. It's like a documentary style. Someone had described it to me like it's like Clerks on a reservation. I think that's pretty close. And the design and decor it's like really good. The layering and the realism of the people's houses. And I, lightly got into Native American research with Rutherford Falls. And I know, watching these things, it's a lot and everything means something. And so it was good. And it's filmed all in Oklahoma. So I'll talk to him about that next week. And then what else? Oh, as my palate cleanser, as Adam Rao loves to say, I'm watching Stanley Tucci Searching for Italy, which is on CNN app, on the Max app, or Hub, or whatever it's called now. Fantastic. It makes me want to go to Italy. I just wish I could have traveled during this time off and ate everything that he's eating. Just is scrumptious. I love Stanley Tucci. I just think he's a good actor. I feel like we would be friends. I know. So, and Sister Wives. I mean, my God, this Sister Wives is so fucking fantastic. Oh my God. Gloves are off with these women. It's fantastic. Jump in. All 18 seasons are worth it just for this last season. I'm telling you. Other than that, I would like to give a shout out to IndieWire, who had a fabulous, I know I talk about IndieWire, fabulous article about the director Joe Wright and the production designer Sarah Greenwood, and then also talking a lot about Katie Spencer, the set decorator, except they call her a set dresser. I immediately emailed IndieWire as to their mistake, but I see it hasn't been changed on the website. They still calling her a set dresser, which is a real fucking slap in the face to like her body of work she's a decorator. I don't get how they can get that wrong and do this huge, nice interview and article about their, I don't know, atonement. I mean, what else do they do? I don't write it down. I don't know. It's like wonderful career working together and how they work together and research that they've done and working with the director and just Darkest Hour. It's a great interview, but they got the title wrong. That's a bummer. Next, I want to let everyone know that the Production Designer Collective is putting together the International Production Design Week, which is October 20th through the 29th. And if you go on productiondesignweek.org, you will see all of what they have planned this year. Instead of that group getting together and meeting and having their own thing, they're opening it up. They're not in one place. It's all of the designers around the world are doing little talks or, master classes, or it's just a fabulous idea that they have put together. And I was lucky enough to moderate one of their Q&As that they'll have out. I don't have specific details on the date that they're running that, but we did do it. And I was overwhelmed that they asked me to do it. But listen, the Production Design, A Lifelong Philosophy with Rick Carter, Jim Bissell, Bo Welsh, Dennis Gassner, Jack Fisk, Janine Opwall, and KK Barrett. Barrett. You can't go wrong with this. It's an amazing amount of things. I could click through this, and there's something from every country. So throughout that week, check on that website. Hopefully we can download these things because I want to be able to do it. I know sometimes they just let production designers do it, but hopefully they let everybody do it. That's what I'm hoping for that. So yes, the International Production Design Week, and it's productiondesignweek.org. So yeah, check that out. But on this episode, I speak with Vice President of Front Row Media, Mimi Clarke. Product placement seamlessly integrates a product, brand, or service into a realistic context in a TV show, film, video game, or webisode. Front Row actively promotes and secures opportunities for their clients' various products, brands, and services. Mimi and I talk about the process of using product placement on a show. Product placement has benefits for both the client and for set decorators to have the opportunity to make the living spaces more real. Mimi's biggest product placement totally shocked me, and how the WGA SAG strike has affected the supportive businesses of Hollywood. I have known Mimi for years. I have worked with Mimi placing her products. Fantastic. The Wolf brands, the Zippos, the Razor scooters, like tons of appliances I've gotten from them. Like, they have fantastic products that are always very easy to put into a set, let's just say. And they're pretty. So I was super glad to have gotten to talk to her. I'm glad that I'm getting to talk to people who aren't necessarily designers and decorators, and letting you understand how we work with a lot of people. I mean, if you didn't catch the Robert Greenfield interview, although he was a set decorator, he runs a prop house, and I think that was really important to let people hear how that all works. And so yeah, I hope you enjoy. I've been out since February though. I didn't plan on that.
Right. That was, you didn't count on that part, right?
No.
Yeah.
So
I got to explain that to people that, aren't out here or are here but don't watch the news, and, they're not in the industry, and they say, oh, well, when did the strike start? And I said, well, the first one started in May, but work for months before that didn't start.
Yeah.
So I know people that haven't worked this year.
Yeah. In the fall, it really started to slow down. And I was just lucky that we were finishing up a show. Yeah. And so...
And we were just so happy to be kind of saying, wow, we're almost back to speed,
I know.
Well, we're almost there.
It got so busy after COVID.
Yeah. It was madness. And I don't know if it's something you want to talk about, but there was, this was an industry that you wanted to get into, there were pros and cons to that. The pro was it was easier to get a job. The con was you didn't have the experience for the job you were getting.
Yeah. You were kind of shoved into it.
That's going to be a long-term miss.
Yeah.
Because people are not being mentored. People are not learning from observation and from being below someone. and working, with a team that has experience, they're not picking up
Yeah.
on that. And it's been a fallout for a lot of us in product placement agencies, the prop houses, the L&D
Yeah.
has never been so huge.
But it's not just our art department set deck. It's ADs.
Yep.
It's, it's, I don't know about grips. I don't check in on them much, but I could assume they still need it. It's transpo.
Yep.
It's, it's almost every department that, yeah, we were so busy. Hurry up and get people.
Yeah.
You learn on the job, which is what we all do. Yeah. But we learn on the job in a sense like, okay, you're doing this film, you're doing this show, and then you go. But this was sort of like you jump 3 steps and you don't know what the people under you do. And that's a problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah.
So, I mean, it's been a massive problem. And the other thing was, for the first time, it seemed like there was extra prep time. And it can't even be really called extra prep time. It was getting closer to the necessitated prep time.
Yeah.
And that was because of testing and all that kind of stuff. And, here we are trying to get product to you to ship, but we're dealing with supply chain issues. And I mean, the whole world is affected. So we're slower on our end.
Yeah. The real world was really backed up. I mean, I know we were backed up.
I have one client who we're almost there, and it's 2023. Oh. I mean, it's been that long, but it was products that just became hugely in demand, and you know how it is. When you can't get it, you want it more.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. When you go on that site and you get to like pick things, and you're like, oh, this fridge or this stove, this is it. Yeah. And you're like, they don't have it. I'm like, well, that's all I wanted. That's all I wanted.
Right. Yeah.
I'm pretty easy though.
Yeah.
I'm pretty easy.
We're almost there. And then on the flip side, we represented brands, we were working with a makeup and skincare brand, and nobody was wearing makeup. No one was wearing lipstick.
Right.
You couldn't see one's lips.
Right. I always said that, like, the eye makeup industry hit a boom. No more lipstick.
Here.
No more lipstick.
Nothing here. So, we had clients that had excess product and clients that couldn't keep up. But, it's been, and it was fascinating from this position because I was experiencing COVID not only in the entertainment industry and production, but in every industry that has a brand that I repped.
You had such a vast,
oh my gosh, it was affecting industries differently.
Right.
So that was pretty fascinating.
Because of like the workflow of people coming back to work or shipments and delays. And
both. Some brands are American brands, American made. Others are from overseas, and those shipments weren't getting here, and nobody was working in the office. So where you used to be able to turn around something quickly because a person could literally walk down the hall, poke their head in an office and go, yay or nay.
Right.
It would be, well, we have a Zoom on Thursday and I can ask then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, but I need to know
Shoots Friday, man.
Right. So, and at this point, we do not have a single client or brand where they are 100% back in the office.
Wow.
We have some that are back mostly, and others that are going to be flex forever.
I often wonder if that's good or bad, because I like the interaction and everything, the convenience of I mean, I can't wake up and go to work at my house, but there's some people you can, and there is something to that where maybe companies are getting more productivity out of people because they are home working all day, or they're not. Like, you really got to be disciplined to work home.
Yeah, so I've always worked in an office, always worked with a team, always gone to set. Like we said, people. Yeah. But I had to learn how to work at home, and that was challenging for me. And actually, I created a whole system for doing it that our office now uses, which is much more interactive, and it's been great. And it was that hump that I needed to get over. So I work from home on Fridays, and just that one day working from home has changed the entire week.
Right.
And we've figured out that I could be anywhere.
Right.
I don't even have to be here.
Right.
So, because things have changed, because back in the day, because again, I've been doing this for 28 years.
Well, let's back up. Back up. How did you get into this?
Okay. Nutshell, in high school, I had a college advisor who also happened to be my film teacher.
Oh, twofer.
Super. And so when I thought I didn't know what I wanted to do, he kept looking at me going, yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Yeah.
And so we came up with this plan, and I ended up interning at the local PBS affiliate in my city for the summer, and only in production.
Nice.
And I loved it. It was fascinating to me, how things worked, what people were doing, who those people were. I loved it. And so ended up going to college, Ithaca College, got a Bachelor of Science degree in television radio production. In the summer, I freelanced. And I was crew. I was an assistant to the director, teleprompter operator, script supervisor, wherever I needed to be.
Right.
And then after graduation, freelanced, and ended up doing so much work for one company that we looked at each other and said, why am I not employed here? It would be better for me and more cost effective for you. And so I went to work for them as a production coordinator, and it was mostly corporate industrial. So I'm from Rochester, New York, and so the hometown companies were Eastman Kodak, Xerox, Gannett,
big ones,
big companies.
Yeah.
So doing corporate work, you had a ton of work. Worked my way up to production manager. If we had 4 directors working on 4 jobs, I had 4 jobs. So everything from quoting the job to hiring the crew to making sure directors and crew had everything they needed. And when I couldn't find a crew person, I was the crew person. So
yeah.
So did that for about 6 years. We started to get some entertainment jobs. We started getting hired by MTV to cover concerts. So that was fun.
Yeah.
And corporate industrial, I mean, you're a rat in a wheel. It just, it's the same thing all the time. So then we did a job with Harry Belafonte. So that was fun.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
My college roommate was here in Los Angeles, and her husband and I had been at college together in the same major. And she said, Mimi, if cars were what you were interested in and where your career path was, you'd probably live in Detroit.
Right.
So why are you not here where your industry is?
Right.
It's like, well, that's a really good question. So I came west. I came west and hit the ground running and applied for jobs everywhere. And within a week, I had 2 offers. Nice. One was on a studio feature.
Nice.
That was in the production manager's office. It was an overseas production, so we would have been here and everybody else would have been there. But I was like, hey, that's awesome.
Well, yeah.
And I had taken this interview with this product placement agency, and I have to tell you, I didn't even know what product placement was. They had to explain it to me when I got there. And when they explained that it was representing brands to productions and working with brands and working with productions, I was like, well, isn't that what I was doing in corporate industrial production?
Exactly.
Don't I speak corporate and don't I speak production? I speak both languages. So I was like, well, this is fascinating. And then I discovered that these agencies work with every studio and every production and every show. And I was like, if that's not speed networking.
Yes, exactly.
I don't know what is. And I thought 6 months of that, I'm going to be networked.
Right.
So ended up leaning towards that, which worked out perfectly because the studio called and said, well, sorry, we have a producer who has a nephew. Your job is the one we're
What
giving them.
do you know what movie it was?
I
Did it bomb?
do.
Did it bomb without you? That's all I want to know. Was it
Well,
Waterworld or something?
I can't even remember the title. It wasn't that memorable. I
Say
remember
that.
Christy Swanson was in it.
Oh,
And Billy, what was his name? He was in Titanic. I can't remember. But so I took the product placement job. And a week later, the studio called and said, okay, shockingly, not shockingly, surprised, the Nepo baby didn't work out. So the job is yours.
Shocker.
And I said, but I've already taken another job.
Yeah.
So
I've had that where you get a job and someone's like, oh no, this one's available now, you can have it. And you're like, oh no, I got some. They're like, what? You got something else? Like you didn't hold your breath while we, yeah.
After we told you we hired someone else, you didn't wait around?
Yeah. I've had that happen too. It's like, no, I didn't.
So, and that was a pivotal moment because that took me in a direction that was never the plan.
But
my plan was to be crew, production coordinator, production manager, but I also always had an interest in script supervisor. So, because I had done a lot of that for the corporate jobs. And I loved, I had editors who were like, Mimi, you're editing this in the field. I love when you're script supervisor in a job because boom, it's
so much work. It's so much work though, in such little, I mean, it feels like you have a lot of time, I guess, on set or when they're doing it. But to me, I'm like, oh man, that's a lot of information.
I had a very good friend who's a location manager. And she said to me, that script supervisor was the polar opposite of her job, because as location, she said, we're never on set. We're always out looking for the next location.
Right.
She said, the script supervisor, she goes, you're right smack in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And I said, yep. And that's where I want to be.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I love it too, but I gotta get out of there. Like once those cameras show up, I'm like, I gotta get out of here.
Yeah, that's what she said too. So so I started working for this agency, and they were established. So that gave me entree to production resources on the studio lots, and we had a client list, so there was that for me to work with, and. This was the wonderful time when you would, do regular set visits and face-to-face time with people, and you would walk sets and see opportunity and build your relationships.
Because I'll say what's important about walking the set with the decorator or designer is that products that you have that you think you can integrate. And if I'm just looking for one thing, I didn't even know you had that, or I didn't think of that. Like, the set walks are really important. They really are helpful.
Well, and it's the time with you, and sort of doing, the chatting it out and talking about it, and you talking about, a swing set that's coming up, and it's the conversation that can spark a lot of the ideas, but it's seeing the sets. And so I miss seeing the people. I miss walking the sets, but it's so time intensive. I don't miss that.
Yeah.
And after all this time, I have such great relationships with so many people. We talk in shorthand.
Yeah.
That I don't really need to.
Yeah.
But I think anyone that's doing this needs to walk sets, and you can't really do that anymore.
There's such a thing too as like, I have worked with you on many projects, and I know when we're setting up the office or I'm setting up sets, like, okay, I'm going to go there. And then I don't have to think about it. I already know I'm going here for that. I'm going to this for that and everything. So the shorthand of it is sometimes I don't know what else you have because I'm not thinking about it. So, but I know what you do have, and I'm going for it.
And that's a lot of the times how it works. If it's a feature, in most cases, I'll read the script and I will provide my own breakdown to you.
Right.
Or to production resources. And because I do know what my clients and their brands have, and I know what's coming. So,
Right.
for example, right now I've got a brand who has something that's really cool that's launching in January. We can probably get some advanced product.
Well, nothing's shoot until January, February anyway.
Well, right, yeah, like if they're, I said we're not going to miss too much. There's not too much production.
I don't think so.
But it's planning like that, and it's knowing it's coming, and so say we start working with it in January, you're not going to see it. It's that picture wouldn't come out till the end of the year or the following year. So you're dealing with a lot of timing too.
Do you find it harder recently to get scripts and pages than it used to be?
So it works. It definitely works differently. We used to be on kind of what you'd call an automatic send, where you would sign an NDA with the studio once a year, and some of the studios we still do. You sign just sort of a blanket NDA.
Oh, nice.
And the scripts are automatically sent to you. I can remember going home for Christmas and the scripts tallied probably 3-4 reams of paper that I was carrying, which is heavy.
Yeah.
And my mother looked at me and saying, "You're on vacation." And I went, "Yeah, I have more time to read."
Yeah. This is my vacation. My vacation read.
And of course now everything's delivered electronically, which is kind of great. Yeah. Because it's with you wherever. But I find that they don't just automatically send out the scripts anymore, and the blockbusters won't send a script, period.
Right.
Which is kind of fine because Thor, Captain America.
I know, but I'm trying to think, like, even I feel recently it's harder, like, we'll only send them that one page, or only send, and it's like, really? Like, okay, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, for TV series, streaming series, there have been streamers where it's a 6-episode season, and they've sent me all 6 episodes. Yeah. And other times, pages.
Yeah.
So I think for us, it depends on what is the placement that we're talking about. How much do we really need to vet it? And again, there's that 28 years of experience and relationships of working with you.
Yeah.
I know you're not going to do something stupid.
Yeah.
Because you're smart enough to know that after this show, you've got another show.
Yeah.
And you want us to be able to work together again.
And it's trust on, it's just trust of both sides.
You're trusting me that I'm going to get things to you that you need on time.
Yeah.
And I'm trusting you that you're going to do what we've agreed with them.
I always hate the liquor bottles. We always need liquor bottles. Yeah. And streaming is fine because you don't have to turn them. But I will never, I try not to do like a full turn. Do you know what I mean? Like because a lot of times I'll try, because, they know the shape of the bottle or it's recognizable, but I still want to be honest in like, look, we needed a bar and, we got this placement and I'm not going to turn like this is, and then producers are coming in like, we have to turn all those. I'm like, no, you don't. You don't have to. We've already signed it off.
I tell you, it's ridiculous because when we're working together, the products that you and I are working together on help to inform character.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Right? They help to inform the story. Products and brands that surround a character and tell you who that person is.
Yeah.
And there's nothing more aggravating than seeing this beautiful bar set. Yeah. And all the bottles are turned.
It looks ridiculous.
Not realistic. And actually, I feel it pulls you out of the story.
Yeah. Like
you're going along and along, and this sort of is somebody just threw cold water on me. Oh, I'm out of it now. Oh, that's,
It's a set.
It's ridiculous.
It's not a real place. It's a set.
No. Someone opens a refrigerator and every product in the door is is
Ugh,
true.
I hate.
It's just, it's actually drawing more attention to
Yeah,
it
I hate
than if
refrigerators.
everything was just naturally the way it would be. Then you probably wouldn't notice as much.
I
But
hate dressing
it pulls you
refrigerators.
out of it.
Yeah.
You know,
But
it's ridiculous.
so do you find it easier to place with props or set deck?
Um, I don't think one's easier over the other. It depends on
Mm,
what the product is. Is it better for the product to be a prop or to be set dressing?
right.
Um, One of our clients is Zippo. You put a classic Zippo lighter into someone's hand, you can't see it really. Their
But you
hand
know.
covers it. You hear it,
Yeah, you know it.
you know it. So that's really good. But even if they're lighting the lighter, you see more of the flame than you do perhaps the lighter. But if you have someone's desk or a coffee table and the lighter is there,
Yeah.
I fully see it. Or
Yeah.
on a bar, I fully see it. Or if it's store set dressing, well, that's really good.
Yeah.
You know,
The
we
displays and
like
everything.
that.
Yeah.
We like that.
Do do you find that you have a lot of or when you're taking on a client and they have like restrictions about their product or
Yeah.
like what are some of the restrictions you have when placing a product?
So that's really a big thing with having an agent and working with a product placement agency to represent you.
Mm-hmm.
I always say what we do for brands is what a talent agency does for talent.
Exactly.
You know, Brad Pitt has an agent, and that agent finds him work, creates work for him, navigates or negotiates work. We do the exact same thing for a refrigerator or an electric scooter.
Yeah.
So we spend almost more time protecting the brand,
Yeah. It's true.
than just throwing product out on a set and saying, have at it. It's protecting the brand and making sure the product isn't used in a negative way or a dangerous way.
Yeah.
Especially, Zippo lighters, case knives. we work with some things that are pretty specific and could go south fast.
But that's why you need all the pages. See,
Yeah,
when they
yeah,
only send you like a couple or like if I'm only allowed like I want to me it's not being truthful in like the arc. I mean, it's only like hey, we're only going to see this in this one shot. I get it. Then we'll send
right.
that scene. But like if the guy's carrying a Zippo lighter the whole movie and then he sets like his, family on fire and you didn't get those
Right,
pages,
right.
that's not fair.
So in that case, if it is going to be a character prop, I will ask to know more about the character, and sometimes they've got character breakdown,
Yeah.
so they'll give that to me.
Can you give
And
them to
again,
me? I don't get them.
you have to ask.
Oh, I do. Oh, I do.
So and other times, I'll say, is there anything that I need to know?
Yeah.
Come on, what do I need to know? And again, you've got people who realize they're going to want to work with you in future, so it's best if they tell you.
Yeah.
And so I'll just say, no, you can't use it. You can use it for these characters. You can't use it for these characters. And a lot of these placements we check in with our clients on because they know even more than we do. There may be something that they're planning 12 months down the road, or there may be something that they're involved with that is not for public consumption. There was a television show, I don't know if it was Alias. It was one of those TV shows. And Quentin Tarantino was acting, and he had a 3-episode arc. He was playing this character, and we had an opportunity to put a product in his hand. And I was like, of course we want to do that, right?
Yeah.
And so when I talked to the client about it and said, here's what these 3 episodes are about, they said, oh yeah, no, we can't. We absolutely can't. He was working with the Russians in this this character. So, and sometimes it's okay. It depends how, there's so many variables. But what I didn't know and what nobody knew, which later came out, was that this company, Russia, was having issues with this company.
Oh.
And there was big problems. And so they didn't want to be in anything that had a Russian in it,
Yeah, I don't blame them.
Right, but so there could be quirky little things like that,
Have you ever seen a show and been versus like super excited, like wow, they used it and it's great and more than I anticipated and the client's super happy, versus like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
100%. Like, it was going so well.
Yeah, it was going so well, and then like, what is this use? Why did the stove melt? Like,
right? Yeah, we had that discussion.
Not that one of those stoves could ever melt. They're so industrially.
Right. Well, yeah.
fantastic.
I mean, and it can be just a really weird thing. It could, we work with Razor, and they have all of these fun rides, and the kid fell off. Did we need to keep that in there?
Right.
It's not the fault of the product. It's
it's the clumsy kid.
But but that's, again, that's realistic too. It happens.
What do you think your most successful placement has been?
My most known placement, gosh, I was taken out on a lot of lunches because people wanted the background on this, was I represented America Online in You've Got Mail.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I read that script.
That's one of my favorite movies, by the way.
Oh, okay.
I've seen it dozens of times.
When I read the script, it was called Little Shop Around the Horror.
Yeah, Little Shop Around the Corner. Yeah.
And I represented America Online. And so I called, the production resources people at Warner Brothers that I know, and I said, I represent America Online. I'm pitching this. I don't have to read more of the script. Right. I am pitching this.
And AOL eventually bought Warner Brothers.
Well, that was they did, which for a minute. That was a fun day too.
Yeah, I bet.
The movie ended up getting changed to You've Got Mail, which is what you would hear when you on, and we had to clear the email addresses for Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks. That was a ton of work. Yeah, well, there was a gal up on the northern West Coast. I felt so bad. She had Shop Girl was her email address.
Oh.
And she had a auto body shop. She was a shop girl.
Oh, she was.
So I was hoping we could just, Shop Girl 123.
Exactly. Her his was his something his address.
Yeah. His was his address in New York.
Yeah.
That also belonged to someone else.
Oh.
But Nora Ephron wanted what
she wanted.
You know how that goes.
Yeah.
So that was really fun. And then when we got talking about promotional stuff, and Warner Brothers was being purchased by AOL. That was fun because we had been talking for months, and all of a sudden it was that morning's call was, I think I probably have this promotion, right?
Well, yeah, but I thought the AOL thing came in like the 2000s, and wasn't You've Got Mail like
no? AOL was around in 1990.
No, I know it was around, but I mean purchasing Warner Brothers. I thought that happened later, but I must be wrong.
Yeah, that might have been on a later project, but I was working with Warner Brothers for promotion.
Oh my gosh,
when that happened.
That's crazy.
Oh, that was nuts. But again, you used to get these discs to insert into your computer to download the software for AOL.
Right.
So when I was at the grocery store, the drugstore, Best Buy, or wherever, I would see these, I would grab them and I would hang on to them because they were different versions.
Right.
So if you were doing a period show,
oh, you're smart.
I would have
the CD-ROM.
I would have it for that time frame. And again, that's another big part of what we do is making things things are, period correct.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask too, of just like, that's great for today, but like when you're doing period stuff.
Yeah.
But there was something about the wolf stoves and like always having the red handles. And then we were like, whew, thank God. They always have the red handles. We're fine.
Yeah. Because you're gonna want to Greek or cover that logo, but go ahead. The red knobs
The
are
red
there.
knobs say it all.
It was the same thing when I was working with Fender guitars. Oh, we need to cover that Fender logo on the headstock. Knock yourself out, because
Everyone knows what a Fender is.
anyone who knows guitars from 2 miles away is going to know that's a
But
Fender.
doesn't that,
you don't
like,
need to see that it says Fender.
doesn't it piss you off? It pisses me off that
yeah.
we have to Greek anything at this
Yeah.
point. I mean, you look back at like shows in the 80s, like I've watched like Family Ties, and they're playing Life and they're playing Monopoly. You could not do that today. You couldn't just bring out Sorry and play it without it being Greeked and ridiculously looking on the box.
Well, and at first, Greeking really seemed to only apply to broadcast. It wasn't cable. Showtime and HBO didn't care.
They didn't care.
So that was great for us. And movies don't care, so that's great. And in those situations, it's more about us clearing the brand and allowing them to use it.
Right.
That's big. That's a big part of our work, is providing clearance.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's Jerry Seinfeld did the most awesome thing. He had an episode on Seinfeld where he's visiting the family in Florida at their senior community, and there's a board meeting, and his dad is on the board,
right.
or the HOA or whatever it was. Right. And so Jerry tags along for the meeting. So you have all these guys sitting around a table, and the only thing on the table is a can of Coke and a can of Pepsi. And he did it on purpose.
To share equal screen time.
Yeah, Coke can't be mad.
Right.
Because they're there, and Pepsi can't be mad because they're there. But sure enough, legal and advertising got pissed off. And they said, well, yes, they were both represented, but nobody touched the can. Why did it need to be there?
Well, because if it wasn't there, you would have been pissed also. Like,
he was just trying to make a point. Yeah. He was just trying to make a point. So,
because that's the thing. If Coke is a sponsor on like a network show, you can't show Pepsi. Or you can, but you have to Greek it.
If Dodge Ram is sponsoring the premiere of the show and doing the deals for the show, you're not going to say, get my Ford truck on there. It's, you understand that. That's understood.
We were just when we did For All Mankind, and now it's like, we're in the 2000s. You could have Sony TVs. You could not have Samsung. Like, you could do anything, but you can't have Samsung on. Which Samsung we deal with all the time in product placement. They're very generous to us. They're very. I've been using them for years, and then it was like, well, no Samsung. And then like Apple products, you can only show the absolute correct version of that Apple product in that moment. You cannot but ours, we have this alternate history, so you could, but you couldn't. It was a very confusing deal with Apple and Sony, and don't show this, but Apple's okay with Samsung, Sony's not. So
and then you've got NBC that at one point was owned by GE.
Right.
And so they said it could only be GE appliances.
Right.
And they were producing a Martha Stewart show.
Well, Martha's not going to.
She wants Sub-Zero and Wolf.
Yeah. Come on.
So guess what she got?
Yeah.
But again, it's, because product informs character, informs story. If you have a kitchen set and it has beautiful GE appliances on it, that tells one story. Yeah. Versus a kitchen set that has beautiful Sub-Zero and Wolf appliances on it. That tells a completely different story.
Different character.
Yes.
They're very nice people, but they're different. They're in a different tax bracket.
Oh, good. It's all good. But it lends itself to story and character. And isn't that what we're doing? Yeah. Are we telling a story?
So in the process, also, you were talking before, let's just go through a little bit of the process. Like, you get a script and everything, and say, as a decorator, or what is it? It's Irma. IRMA, right? IRMA.
Irma Entertainment Marketing Resources Association. So that's all product placement agencies.
And
Yep.
that's like if you're looking for a telephone, if you're looking for a refrigerator, you type that in and it tells you the product placement companies that you can go to and look for
Yeah.
things. So in
Yep.
the process, I contact you and I say, we've got a smoker. I'd love to use Zippo as dressing. Then we sign paperwork, right? I'm getting this process because I let my lead man do it all the time.
Right. So no. So you'll say we have a need for lighters, and so I will show you what your options are, and you'll pick.
Yeah.
You might have a show and tell with them, or you might be able to just run with it. And if you're props, we're going to order doubles and triples because, the prop saying 1 is none and 2 is 1.
Yeah. I don't deal in that world. Whenever props is like, oh, did you get this? Yeah, I got him. How many did you get? Well, I got 1. Oh, I don't have that budget, man.
And there's times when we're working with both of you.
Oh, yeah.
Because that blender is set dressing, but it's also in 3 more episodes, it's going to be a hero prop.
Yeah, it's a crossover.
And so you need the 1, but props needs 2 and a couple of extra,
to
jars.
make the stuff with. And
if someone's making a smoothie, can I have 6 jars?
Yeah. Oh, I know. I could never do props.
Yeah. So it's working with both of you. We always used to say we knew if set dressing and props got along based on where their offices were on the set. And if they were next to each other, they got along. And if they were on opposite sides, they didn't.
Well, I don't know how much control I have over that, but I would think you'd be able to tell if, like, oh, props wants to do their own order, their own pickup, their own return. Like, you know what I mean? Like, set dressing isn't even picking up for them.
Right. Yeah.
That would tell.
Exactly. That's a pretty solid sign. It's so nice when everyone's working together and we're just all now. And
so we pick up the product, we use it.
Yep.
It was only for this episode, and then we return it. Like, so it's a borrowing situation of set dressing that I don't have to pay for.
Right.
Yes, that's the thing. But your product is seen, and it gets attention and
so that's the win-win is production is getting what they need and not having to purchase it.
Yeah.
And the brand is taking the chance that they'll get some exposure. Yeah. We don't always get exposure.
Well, that's that's the other thing. I can't control editing either.
Exactly.
Like, I put out those Zippo lighters, like they did a whole thing on the table, but then they took it out. Like, I'm sorry.
Or they even filmed it. They filmed the whole scene. Yeah. And it was fabulous.
Yeah.
And then the show comes out and that scene, editing room floor.
Yeah.
It happens. It happens.
Yeah. They cut the wides a lot quicker these days too. So
right. But then there's the times where the one sheet, the movie poster comes out and your product's in the poster.
Yeah.
And you're doing a happy dance.
Yeah.
So it's everything is a chance. I always say you're for sure not going to be there if you don't play.
Right. Miss 100 shots not taken.
But if you do play, there's a chance that you still, you might not make it, but you might make it in a really nice way.
Yeah. And I'm sure that makes the clients happy.
Yeah. Well, and when you're speaking with brands that kind of want to get into it and learn about it, it's a lot of explaining to them, this is not a commercial for your product. That's not what's happening here. Don't think you're going to do 2 or 3 shows a year and you're going to have this amazing exposure. And again, it's going to be a commercial and the talent's going to say the name of your brand. That's not what's going to happen.
Do products reach out to you or do you reach out to products?
Both. Brands get referred to us oftentimes by set decorators and prop masters who have a need and they see that they have a need pretty frequently. And it's often easier for you to work with me than to track down the person at the company. And again, I speak production.
Right. Right.
They don't know what questions to ask you.
Right.
And, what if in the time that you're dealing with them, they leave that job to go somewhere else? And now who do you talk to?
Yeah, right. That
So,
happened.
because I'm working with the brand, there's multiple people that I'm working with at the brand. So
Right.
it's, I'm more connected.
How has it been with the strike? Crickets or
Painful, really
yeah.
painful. We have some brands that lend themselves to pricing for game shows,
But
which
yeah.
there's game show production hasn't stopped. And matter of fact, you're going to see a ton of it this fall.
Yes.
But and reality TV, when it's sort of the cast that's living together, we're wary of those because there's no control. You don't know anything that's going to happen or what's going to come out of someone's mouth
Right.
or how
Like
someone's going to use something. So that's
real world.
not as much somewhere that we want to be.
That's a good
But
point.
then we have brands that, we have a liquor brand, a spirits brand, and that's not going to be a prize on a game show. So there's not been a lot of work for them.
Yeah.
So yeah, we need this strike settled. I mean, there's prop houses that are now closed forever. There's a couple that are on the cusp.
Yeah. The hours that you can go are shut down, days of the week shut down.
Yep.
I mean, I think they're all doing their best of trying to rotate employees, just trying to make it work, or
right.
But
doing everything so they can. They're going through savings to keep on and people there. It's and to health insurance. I mean,
I know pension days, pension hours, all of I this is what I didn't want to happen. Look, you want them to get what they nobody wants to feel like they're being taken advantage of, and things have to change over time. They were working under that contract for way too long. I shouldn't make 20% less because I went across the street to Netflix, who's making $1 billion more. I shouldn't have to. That's unfair to me.
Well, too. Netflix is no longer new media, and when they cut that deal, it was the wild, wild west. It was new media. They didn't know, but
it's time to be not so new media, and pay like everybody else.
Yes.
But I feel like we've passed the point, like we did, which was sooner on the last writer's strike. We're angry. And now we just want them to settle, and then we're going to be even more angry because they're going to settle for something they didn't, and we wasted all this time, and you didn't get everything you want. So there's like this, like, we want you to end it, but we're going to be mad if you don't get everything you want because we did all this.
At this point, they're losing too.
Oh yeah.
And usually it's just a hiccup for them. Strikes, this one's going to hurt. This one's hurting them.
Yeah. Well, for me, the article or the equation of, we've lost $300 million. Well, all you had to do was pay 47 for the year, and we would have been done. So I don't have any sympathy for you.
Yeah, I know.
Your math is off.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But that's, the 47 million is lost, or what the writers accumulated would have been per year per the contract or whatever. But 300 million is only, Warner Brothers or Netflix or something. It's not us. It's not including how much wages we have lost, or you, or the prop houses, or the florists, or anyone depending on our business, restaurants, catering.
But that's the nature of corporate America. Again, with the foot in corporate is they'll pay what it costs for the win.
Yeah.
It's, they will employ teams of lawyers that charge ridiculous amounts of money, and it will cost them more to not pay you.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. It's bad business. It's bad business.
So let's say we're all back to work and everything's great
Which is coming. We got to know it's coming.
It's gonna come. I mean, eventually it's gonna come. I want them to get everything because I'm getting angry.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
But let's say we're all back to normal, whatever our new normal is.
Yeah.
What's your like future or push for product placement? Like, where do you think you can like advance? Do you think AI? Do you think things like that? Yeah.
On the one hand, kind of like, I mean, COVID was more like a slow return. It inched in. This is going to come back like a freight train.
I don't think so.
I do.
I don't. I think.
Well, because we work globally.
Oh, well, yeah. Okay.
And we work across all media. So we're putting seatbelts on our chairs because the phone's going to be ringing off the hook.
I think it's going to be a slow roll. I think it's going to be, all right, let's finish this movie. We had one day left on Beetlejuice. Let's get it done. All right, you started a show. All right, let's get you done. And I think they're going to slow roll out new products because they went too fast before.
But you have all those returning series that are just waiting.
Well, then, yes, network and everything like that.
Waiting.
Yes.
So that's, I mean, we're going to get hit with that first.
Yeah, that's true. You're going to be busy.
Right. But as far as product placement in the future of it, in these decades that I've been doing it, it's gone from where even I didn't know what it was, right? To if you are a brand and you're marketing or advertising your company, it's a tool that you really need to utilize.
Yeah.
And we've said it forever. We've said, do you want to be in the commercial or do you want to be in the show? Because I'm going to go get a snack and use the bathroom during the commercial. But, you decide.
Yeah. That's a great pitch, man.
Right. And these days, I mean, the way technology has changed and the way we consume content is completely different. Back then, we had a room full of VHS machines recording all the shows, and that was what we were working from to see if product was showing up. If you missed an episode or the news broke into the show and the show went longer, you didn't get the tail end of that show.
You didn't add your extension on TiVo.
This was disastrous stuff, and now you can watch it when you want to watch it, however you want to watch it. And the other thing is you can stop it. You can frame by frame it. So if you are a person watching and I like that watch you're wearing, I can stop and look and really see and track that down. There have always been viewers watching that way that are intrigued with things. I can remember Mad About You, the TV series. They had one scene always where the two characters were in their bedroom in bed having a conversation, whether it was at the top of the show or the bottom of the show. More people were calling to find out who made the bed.
The bed, yeah.
Who was the bed frame? What were the linens?
Yeah,
it happened on Friends all the time.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I just saw that you have sheets. You've got bedding. Yeah, that's really nice.
I had a friend who went to a movie. It was a Steve Martin, Goldie Hawn movie.
Bird on a Wire. House sitter.
House sitter. He's an architect.
Oh.
He's there. She kind of moves into the house.
Yes.
Super cool house, right? It had that whole glass hallway connecting the two sides.
Beautiful design.
A friend of mine, I mean, I've known her since high school. She and her husband saw that movie and they had property and they were looking at building a home and they went, oh, look at that. They tracked down the architect who actually did that and got the plans. And then they built their own version of that house.
It wasn't a designer? That was a location?
That was built, yeah.
Well, that's disheartening.
So the point being is there are people who are fascinated by it.
Oh, yeah. I have got, a lot of interaction, people who contact me is, where did you get that blanket? Where did you get that piece of art? People look at sets and like, oh, I'd really like that. Or,
I've
things.
done that to you. I asked
Yeah.
you where you got the armchair
Yes.
because I loved it.
I love people who are like, I'm rewatching Bones and I love this blanket. I'm like, bro, that was like 15 years ago. First of all, I don't remember, but I don't think it's available. Like, I don't know. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I did that very same thing to you. There was a chair that
The
I
chair.
loved.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we need to know. You know who to go to.
Yeah. But it's really a marketing tool that savvy brands shouldn't be without.
But it's like, I think one of the best things is like a Bond or like, a Tom Cruise or movie, and like the anticipation of seeing The Watch or the things like that. Like, you have such a captivated audience, and even that split second of screen time on the product is priceless. I mean,
and in that situation, a smart company is going to leverage that placement, and they're going to work with the studio's promotions department, and that's where you're going to see an advertising campaign around it. And that campaign is not only marketing their product, they're promoting the film or they're promoting the show.
Right.
Again, win-win situation.
Yeah. Well, do you love it?
I do. It's so funny. It's, so many years of it. And there's days where it's just, how much longer can I do this? And then there'll be some great person to work with or some great placement opportunity or a great exposure. Yeah. And I get as excited as I did the first day.
Yeah, I know. It draws you right back in.
Right back in. I've met and made friends with so many amazing people.
Yeah.
That if I didn't do this, you and I wouldn't know each other. We
do have such an amazing, and the SDSA has brought so many of us together in just social situations and being able to interact with each other, which is always fantastic. And we have a good group of people. I mean, there's some really wonderful people in our SDSA, and you're part of the business members.
We find each other.
Yeah. And then there's the kooky ones that are even better.
They can be fun.
That's the best. That's my beeline in the room. I want to talk to them. I think it was the Warner Brothers SDSA party last December when I asked you to be on the podcast. So I am sorry it took so long.
Yeah.
But I always, I really like it, talking about these other facets in our industry, and it's so important for product placement and prop houses, and just getting a more balanced idea of like we're not just dealing with each other or like just the prop houses. There's so many other businesses that we're dealing with in this industry, and the strike is affecting.
And I think it's important for people to understand that product placement is not subliminal advertising. We're not trying to sneak things in, and get stuff. That's not what we're doing. Again, product on your sets or in props informs character, informs story.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's so nice to have the resource as a go-to also. And a reliable source also when you're dealing and build these relationships, because like I'm working on Veep, like I know what my character is. I know I'm gonna need the Wolf. I know I'm gonna need the Sub-Zeros, and this is where we're going.
But you didn't know that I have something that might work for you, or that they've got another product that you haven't heard about. So that happens a lot too in talking with you or in reading a script. We might be talking because you want clients. Right. But all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, but this.
But I don't know. Did you just get those sheets? I didn't even know you had the bedding.
About a year.
I've been in space, so I don't.
It's been a wacky year. So
I was on Mars.
Just as we were ramping up with Down, etc., just as it was starting. Yeah. Strike.
Well, I feel like I've been out of touch with a lot of vendors because I've been doing sci-fi in space, and I was like, I won't talk to you. Like my florist, I'm like, I'll see you next year. I don't know. We don't have flowers on Mars. Sorry. Like, we're not doing it. But No, you're a go-to, and I'm so appreciative that you are always so lovely and wonderful to work with too. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you for the invitation, and it's always fun to talk with you, and it's always fun for me to talk about product placement.
Front Row Media, you're it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Keep me in the front row.
Oh yeah, that is a good name. That is a good name for because you want to be front row. Isn't she funny? She's really funny. She's got always such a happy, fun attitude, and so easy to work with. And I'm telling you, she's a go-to when I start up a show, because she has great products to place. And like she said, it's not pushing products down your throat. It's really making our sets look more realistic. And we absolutely hate when we have to Greek or turn bottles or whatever. I hate it. So yes, thank you, Mimi, for giving me your time and explaining all this. I do appreciate it. Yeah, she's fun. I mean, You've Got Mail. My jaw was on the floor. You've Got Mail, that's huge. I didn't even think about that. I was thinking like a Tom Cruise watch, or like Mission Impossible, or like I was trying to think like Harry Potter, like something huge. And then she whips out You've Got Mail. I would have never gotten that one. So bravo, girlfriend. Good one. And yeah, so thank you. So next week, Brandon Toner Connolly, production designer. And after that, juggling some things around. It's going to be good, though. So I hope you got an earful. I'm Kim Wanup for Decorating Pages.
Welcome to Pro Tips for the Pros, brought to you by Floor & Decor Bailey's Crossroads. In this series, we'll explore essential advice for professional contractors to deliver outstanding renovation results. Let's dive in. Prioritize quality craftsmanship and materials to deliver results that exceed the customer's expectations. Attention to detail and superior workmanship will leave a lasting impression and ensure customer satisfaction. Thank you for joining us for this pro tip on planning thorough renovations. Stay tuned for more expert advice brought to you by Floor & Decor Bailey's Crossroads.
A lot of people tolerate ordinary. Ordinary bathrooms, kitchens, entryways. Well, not on your watch. If you're a pro, you've got a new partner in town. Floor & Decor. From tile to wood to stone, Floor & Decor has more styles and job lot quantities of Schluter, Mapei, Laticrete, and other brands pros trust. Come see a whole new way to wow with Floor & Decor. Coming soon to Bailey's Crossroads.